How you guys doing? Great.
When you've got two teams that have such different styles as the Seahawks and the Chiefs, what do you take away from a game like that, or what can you take away just from the general feel of that game?
I think for us, we want to play our style of football. It's physical. It's being able to run the ball really well, being able to throw the ball efficient when we need to, and everything else. They've been throwing around all year. It's been fun watching Mahomes and what he's done, and all their players. Kelsey, Tyreek, special players. Across the board. So, I think for us, we got a lot of great players on our side too, and we know it's going to be a battle. They're coming here. It's going to be a loud crowd. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be back and forth probably, and we're prepared for whatever we need to do to get a win.
What do you make of the comparisons between you and Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I think that he does an unbelievable job of scrambling. You watch him scramble outside the pocket. He's pretty special out. He's one of the best to do it. And just to see him what he can do outside the pocket. He's a lot bigger than me, but in terms of how he throws the ball on the run and everything else, it's the baseball, I think, in both of us, being able to play baseball and playing infield and all that. So, he's a special player. Like I said, he's really fun to watch.
I was just going to ask about the baseball thing. How much do you think that helps you throwing on the run, having that multi-sport background?
Yeah, playing multiple sports, that really helps you in a drastic way, to be able to throw a football and to be able to move a certain way and throw on the run. I try to tell kids all the time, play as many sports as you can because it really helps. Playing point guard helped me play quarterback. Playing baseball, middle infield, having to dive for balls, having to throw on the run. Balls hit behind, the pitcher's mound. You got to go up and get it and still throw it, kind of backwards behind you to, get the first, to get the first down or get the guy out, or whatever it be. Those kind of things are real, and be able to throw from different arm slots and everything else. So I think Patrick does a great job of that, and I definitely attribute a lot of that to just my baseball and for me too.
Anything you can learn from Pat in this short season that you've seen from him to maybe apply to your game?
I think that he does everything really well. I think that he executes really well. He's sharp. He gets guys open. I think he does a great job of that. So, I got to watch more film, of him. But it's fun watching him play. That's for sure. He's competitive as can be.
Have you ever thrown a pass left-handed the way he has a couple times?
I've thrown some in high school, to get the first down. I haven't done it in the NFL. I think I've maybe thrown one away, but it was pretty cool seeing him throw that one.
Have you crossed paths with him at all?
No, we haven't really crossed paths. We played in that preseason game to kind of talk to each other for a little bit, but we haven't had the chance to cross paths yet. So I'm sure we'll play against each other a bunch over years to come. So I'm looking forward to that.
What's Pro Bowl recognition or alternate versus making team? Does it mean anything to you?
Well, I think that more than anything else is winning is the thing that you want to do. That's the thing that matters the most. I think that for me, in particular, I want to be. I love the Pro Bowl and it's great, but ultimately I'd rather be in the last game of the year, and hopefully have a chance to win it. So I think that that's kind of my focus in terms of play. I think Pro Bowls matter, all those things matter because it shows your work ethic and all the things you've done for the off season and everything else. Those accomplishments are cool, but the biggest accomplishment of all is winning it all. So I think that's kind of my focus and always has been.
With Chris Carson, the fourth down touchdown last week, does he do anything like that surprises you? Are you surprised when you see some of the physical stuff that he's able to accomplish?
Anything Chris Carson does doesn't surprise me. He is probably one of the greatest athletes I've ever been around. Just to watch his ability to get into the end zone, he sees things that hardly anybody can ever see. It's just he's physical as can be. He can catch, he can run. He's smart as can be too. So he's humble too while doing it. Doing all those things. So it was cool seeing him get into the end zone the other night. Just being physical, not giving up. He has that attitude. And so that's what we love about him.
Russell, can you describe the trust that you have in Doug and Tyler and kind of the rest of your guys? But their drop rate is second to none in the NFL the last couple of years, and kind of how reassuring that is for you as a quarterback.
Well, Doug and Tyler, they're as good as it gets in the NFL. Their ability to catch the football. I don't remember a day they've dropped one. Just working with them and practicing with them every day and throwing in the off seasons and obviously in games too. These guys are special in that way. So. I love playing with those two. They can make every play. They're quick as can be. There's nothing that they can't do as well. So it's an honor to be their quarterback and play with them.
What have you seen from Chris Jones this year? It seems like he literally has had a sack in every game. What are your impressions of him?
Yeah, I think Chris Jones has been amazing on film. He's a big, strong, fast. He's quick. Even for a big guy, he has a knack for getting to the quarterback. So hopefully not this week, but he's pretty special in that way. So I think they got 14 and a half sacks, I believe, something like that. So he's a special player and will be a special player a long time in this league. I think this is just only his third year, right? So you think about all the things he's done so far. It's pretty cool to watch him.
Their pass rush in general, they have 46 sacks. Just how important is avoiding, whether it's the penalties, negative plays, kind of getting in those obvious passing situations?
Yeah, I think the thing for us is we got to stay on schedule against these guys because they're the number one sack leading team in the NFL. They got a lot of guys. Ford's got like 11 plus sacks. Jones has 14 and a half. They got Houston, who's always been one of the sack kings in the NFL. So there's a lot of guys that they can rotate in and out and make plays, and they make timely plays as well. So we've got to be really smart up front. We've got to be smart with the ball in the pocket, everything else, and play a great game. There's no fear. We've played some tough opponents this year in terms of defensive lines, and I think our offensive line has done a tremendous job of being able to do a great job against some really, really great players. So it's going to be a great task for us, and we're looking forward to that.
You mentioned the multi-sport thing. I'm assuming you had a coach who said you only can play football or you can only play baseball. What was your response to that coach? And then how hard is it for kids? How hard was it for you? And then how hard is it for kids now with 7-on-7 camps and elite camps and all that?
Well, growing up, my parents always encouraged me to play multiple sports. I was fortunate to go to collegiate school where we played. It was actually mandatory for you to do two sports. Really two things. You could do theater, you could do a sport, but you really had to be doing two things. You couldn't just sit and not do it. So it's one of those things that everybody played sports. And so for me, obviously I love sports. I love playing football, basketball, baseball, all that. A lot of my friends, a lot of my teammates, and everything too as well. But when I was growing up, I had many people tell me to just focus on baseball. I played tons of AAU baseball games. In Virginia, we played triple headers, so we played 3 games, 3 games in the summertime. I played over 100 plus games in the summer, and so we were one of the top teams in the nation. And everything else growing up, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you just focus on baseball and everything else." But I love this game of football. And I didn't even start playing football in a league until I was in 7th grade. So for me, I was constantly busy, but a lot of it when I was really young, I wasn't playing in a league yet in terms of football. So once I got into a league in 7th grade, it kind of changed my life in terms of my perspective of where I wanted to go, and just really, my dad had played for the Chargers for a short period of time. My brother was in college playing football and baseball at University of Richmond, and it was something that I really wanted to do, is to play 2 sports. Seeing guys like Deion Sanders play 2 sports, other guys as well, Brian Jordan, different players. So for me, I had several people tell me no when I was really young, but really in college, that's where it kind of really showed up more so than anything else. Especially when you get in college recruiting, it's you can go play Major League Baseball, be a second rounder, or if you go play, go to college, then maybe you don't play quarterback. I heard that a lot. And maybe you just play, outfield or, second base, shortstop, and then you can play 2 sports. And for me, I was pretty set on what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go to a place where I could play, 2 sports. I could play quarterback and I could play baseball. And, for me, when I transferred to Wisconsin, that whole thing and everything else, I had been successful in football, and it's amazing how things change. Because they say, hey, just play one, just play pro baseball, or just pursue football. And I think that was probably the most challenging time, to be honest with you, in my athletic career, was choosing to play football or just baseball at that time. For me, I had a chance to play pro baseball. Everybody told me no in terms of playing football. I was too small, even though I had great stats in college and was able to break a lot of records and do special things at NC State. It was one of those things that just go play baseball, and that wasn't in my heart yet. Just to play baseball. I wanted to see where God could take me, and everything I had worked for in high school, middle school, growing up, watching games and everything else, I wanted to lay it on the line in football and see how far I could take it. And my agent, Mark Rogers, and best friend, really, he told me, hey, leave your option open in terms of playing football, just because, playing college football, because, I think you can play it. He really believed in me. He really did. And I knew I could play baseball, and he was a baseball agent, but he really believed that I could play pro football. And him and my brother were really the two people that helped guide me to go make a decision to go to, have to choose to go to Wisconsin at that point, between Auburn and Wisconsin. And going to Wisconsin was one of the best decisions of my life at that time. I loved NC State and everything else, but it was kind of one of those things where I had to make a decision to go somewhere else. And I could have just been playing baseball and everything else, and I'm sure I would have done great and loved it. But at the end of the day, I'm here where I am now, standing up here in front of you guys, because I had a couple people believe in me. I had a couple people believe that I could be where I am. And Mark and my brother Harry and my mom and everything else, sister, those people were really there for me to go pursue what I felt like in my heart I could do. And now where I'm at now, my whole role now is to inspire other people that, have been told no, or they're too small, you can't do it, you look this way, you look that way, whatever that may be. Because I heard that a lot. So I'm grateful that I had a few people, Mark, my brother, my mom, my sister, be there for me to say, you can do this, and you're going to do this. And so I did it, and sure enough, hard work pays off.
So you left NC State because of the baseball thing?
Well, that's a whole nother story. I could be up here for an hour. But basically, my coach at the time told me to transfer, told me just go play baseball. I didn't want to do that yet. I remember I was sitting on the third floor in Rome, Georgia, about to play the Atlanta Braves organization. I was leading off that night, and April 27th, the day I got drafted, and I called him and said, I want to come back to NC State, and sure enough, he said, you should go play baseball. And I have no resentment at all. To be honest with you, it was probably the best thing in my life, looking back at it, that God had given me. I had already graduated from NC State, a school that I loved. It was a special place for me. And to be honest with you, my dad was extremely sick at the time. When I got to NC State, he was in a coma. He was, on his deathbed. I was 2.5 hours away. I could drive there. I could drive home to see him, on Thursdays or on Fridays, and come home and see him. So he was close enough, but yet I was far enough away where I could focus on what I needed to focus on, and where my life was going to take me. But I was yet close enough to go see him. And so that, I think, God kind of worked out in His own way. And then when I transferred, I was going to a place I didn't really know much about, and it was a great decision. It was a great thing for me, and that's why I loved, honestly, the transfer rule, because I was one of the first people to do it, really. And it was a great thing, because I actually had graduated in 3 years. I was in grad school and everything else. I didn't feel like I should be punished for graduating, early and everything else. And so it opened the door for me. It opened the door for where I'm at today, and hopefully it can open the door for somebody else. And so, like I said, I love NC State. I love Wisconsin. Both of those places have meant the world to me, because I had a lot of people at NC State, a lot of friends. There's a guy named Dee Hogger who's still there, who texts me every game day, who texts me every week, texted me yesterday. So I believe in Russell Wilson, and those kind of things last forever. Those are the things that you remember, and people that you remember, and the people that make a difference in your life. You may not be able to see them every Sunday or every week, but they're still there every day for me. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for some of the people like Annabelle at NC State, different people, and people at Wisconsin too. So I'm grateful for where I've been, and some of the tough times I had to come through, and where I'm at right now. So like I said, if I didn't have a few people believe in me, and a lot of people said no, but a few people said yes. And even the Seahawks, they said yes to me, and so it worked out.
How much did that experience help you, Russell, going to Wisconsin for that 1 year, making an impact in the locker room right away, impact on the field? When you came here, similarly as a new person, and got the starting job and one of the locker room and stuff like that.
Well, going to Wisconsin, having the transfer, and then going there and going to a place that was already successful, great team, a lot of NFL-style players. Our whole offense was, drafted. We were really talented. We had Monty Ball, Melvin Gordon, and James White in the backfield. We had Nick Toon at receiver, Abadaris, a lot of great players. We had, Wagner at left tackle. We had Zeitler and Travis Frederick and Peter Kahn. We had guys playing, guys that are great players. And to go into that locker room and just try to make a difference, and just try to be a part of the family, and just work hard. That's really what it came down to, and learning the whole playbook. That really, I got there July 1st. I'll never forget. I got there July 1st. I pulled up in a U-Haul and everything else. I drove 18 hours. Okay, in a U-Haul. Okay, I'm driving the U-Haul. Drove 18 hours to get there. I get there, land on July 1st, early in the morning. It's actually funny thing is my favorite player, Breeze Street. Okay, it's called Breeze Street. Okay, I pull up on Breeze Street. That's where we park the U-Haul. Okay, that's right where Camp Randall is. And I get out and I start watching film right away. And July 1st was really the first day I got there. And my whole goal was to learn the whole playbook by July 21st. I gave myself 3 weeks. Okay, and training camp started, well, I don't know, August 1st or whatever it was, and so I gave myself 3 weeks to learn the whole playbook. So I was in my playbook, and at the time, you can't work with the coaches or anything like that. You got to, because of NCAA rules and all that. So I had to kind of learn on my own, and so I just dived into it, and it was like getting your PhD and trying to learn football, new football that fast, and still be able to compete at a high level, and it really helped me. Coming here too as well, because I had West Coast offense at NC State. We had a lot of play action and running game and all that kind of stuff, terminology. At Wisconsin, and we kind of mixed the two together, and it turned into a beautiful picture for us. And so on offense, and so I've been fortunate to be able to do that.
Eric Berry returned to their lineup last week. Did you see anything from film that maybe changed their style of play or how he impacted their defense?
Well, Eric's, he's always been one of the best safeties. I've had a great appreciation for watching him play the game and playing against him a couple of times too. But he's been special, and just to think about what he's gone through, it just shows you the kind of character of person, the kind of tough leader he is. Because most people couldn't do what he's done, and I'll forever remember, his ability to come back and play the game, not just play the game, not just be out there, but play it at a high level, one of the best in the game. So, you got to be careful with a guy like that, because he's pretty good, to be able to play the way he's played, and there's nothing that he can't do. And I mean that just from a life perspective and a playing perspective as well. So you got to know where he is at all times.
Anything else?
Thanks, Russ.
Yep.